How'd you like that food, Moose? How'd you like that food? Moose here has decided that he wanted to eat a bunch of rocks, so I had to send him to the vet. I'll insert a picture of his x-rays here. It's been one thing after another. Constantly this trip has just been, how can we make this as difficult as possible for David? Just for curiosity, so Moose and I, we run up this trail pretty much every day. Kind of backs up to these little mountains right here. But let me show you guys the view at the top of this. It's pretty awesome for what it is. And there you go. Excuse my panting. Still getting used to the elevation. But if you guys can imagine, this is what we are fortunate to be able to see every single day. This is our view from the top of this little crest. Now, is it worth all the stress? That's completely up to you. Ran into my most recent dilemma, and that was Moose. Moose decided to eat a bunch of rocks, and he also got pneumonia at the same time. So after a huge debuncle, I mean, the first vet wanted to just cut him open and start removing the rocks immediately. And I was just confronted with a quick $2,000 bill, which obviously I don't have. I'm like, look, what can we do about this? So I went ahead and got a second opinion. Very fortunately, Moose did not have to get cut open. He has been passing the rocks. Ask me how I know. But I will insert an x-ray here, or right here, wherever. I'll just insert it right now. So he is feeling better, but he did also catch pneumonia, so I did have to get him pills for that. So everything about this Colorado trip has been more extravagant than it needs to be. But in keeping with the high spirits and everything, I did kind of want to give you guys an update on the FJ80 and just let you know my thoughts on it, how it's performed, and just give you an update on that as well, and kind of get away from the RV for a second. So let's go outside and let's take a look at the rig, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. I also finally got a chance to actually clean the dash and the interior. It looks so much better. It was just really gross and gunky. For those curious, here's the rig now. It's been doing phenomenal for me. I have obviously my still power steering leak, which is leaking all over the place. Luckily they haven't said anything. The Burfield joints click like crazy every time I turn, but other than that, the rig has been doing well. The check engine light has been coming on and off every now and then. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but again, the rig has been running great. So let's get into more detail on my thoughts on it. So for those curious, I have not shop vac, but I did go ahead and clean up all this trim. And it looks a lot better. This area obviously still needs some work, but overall, the trim came out great. So back here is basically Moose's space. I keep a water bottle for him. This box I was gonna throw away, but he loves it so much. He likes to be able to just lay on it when it's hot outside, so I've kind of left this box in there. And he really likes it. I also leave this seat up and he just hangs out in that area as well. Right now his kennel's in the back because of him being sick and I have to take him to work. So that's what that's for. These third row seating, still haven't used them, but I love the space set. All right, again, let's go back in the rig and we can talk about this a little bit more. Okay, so for those of you new to the channel, welcome. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate you guys subscribing if you're a new subscriber as well. So kind of give you some backstory, my wife and I decided to basically pick up everything and move from Austin to Denver. Myself and Moose have been the guinea pigs on this, and we have picked up a 22-foot RV. I basically picked up the FJ80 about 3-4 weeks ago at this point, and basically spent multiple all-nighters wrenching on it to get it good enough to go from Austin to Denver. Not just go from Austin to Denver, but to tow a 4,000-pound, 22-foot Winnebago RV. So that was my first big trip with this rig. Hold on a second. Moose is chewing on his collar. Let me take that off real quick. A 6-month-old puppy is like having a child. He's just crazy. Everything goes in his mouth, as you saw with the x-rays. Needless to say, the FJ80. For those of you who have been following and are interested in FJ80 and just some updates on it, I'm going to go over that right now. I really wanted to do this outside, but there's a lot of wind, traffic, and kids running around, so I apologize for the lack of just cool footage. Right now, I think I'm at 281,000 and some odd miles on the FJ80. I got it at 279,000 miles, something like that. Basically, the longest amount of mileage I've put on it has been since I picked it up and moved it to Denver. For those of you who are also interested, towing at about 4,000 pounds, I think I averaged about 8 to 9 miles per gallon, which actually wasn't too bad. Right now I'm averaging at about 15, which is kind of odd to me, but also that's using the mileage that I use per full tank divided by the amount of gallons I put in it. So it's not, I'm not using any readers or anything like that, so it's a little bit more accurate that way. Other questions on it. So basically it is a stock, as far as I know, everything is stock basically, except for all the tune-up items and all the maintenance I've done to it. I did put on 17-inch FJ wheels that I did pick up with the stock FJ tires also. So they had really good street tread, and I didn't want to do anything crazy to get it to tow over here. I have not off-roaded this rig yet. I haven't done anything to make it more capable in the mountains or anything of that nature. Basically just use stock setup because my biggest goal for it initially was to get it running, reliable, and then to take it from Austin to Denver, which it's done. So I'm really extremely happy with that. My biggest two issues at this point right now are I have an extremely leaking power steering pump. I basically have to fill it up with ATF every 2 or 3 days, and it basically drains out from there. The second thing is my Burfield joints just click like crazy when I'm at basically 3/4 both directions. So I've tried greasing them up. I think I just need to go ahead and just get them all repacked and everything like that, maybe even replaced. At this point, it's just not financially there, and I don't have a place to work on it, so that's kind of a little bit more difficult. Other than that, the check engine light has been tinkering, going back on and off. I'm not sure what that's for, and I did have 2 bolts that I put on the exhaust where they'd come off that has separated again, so it has started making a louder exhaust note just because the exhaust has separated. I'll try and insert a clip of that here. Other than that, the rig has been great. It starts up every day. I mean, it runs, stops. I still have a little bit of a clunking when it shifts from first to second, kind of hard, but reliability wise, knock on wood, I'm super impressed with this rig. I did just put up a poll to kind of just gauge interest in what rig we should get next, or if I should keep the FJ80. I'm still kind of interested in trying to figure out what I'm going to do. At this point, our future is very fluid, to say the least. So I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to be next month. I'm trying to figure out where we're going to be when Shay moves here. At this point, I have this to tow. So the FJ80 did do a good job with that. Shay still has her X5 diesel, which we got specifically diesel to be able to tow. So pending her getting here, that may end up being the tow rig. I'll just put a trailer brake on her rig. But I am interested in the following options. Like I said, kids. I'm looking at either getting a new Jeep Gladiator. I'm interested in getting a Toyota 4Runner, the 4-door 4x4 obviously option. Going FJ Cruiser, the newest version of that, or keeping the FJ80. I'm interested in seeing what your thoughts are on that. Again, I'm open to that. Obviously, having a new car payment would suck as well. The FJ80 is paid for. At this point, it's basically just me doing maintenance on it. But it does have its towing limitabilities, or towing limits. For those of you who are curious, as far as towing it from Austin to Denver, honestly, I really didn't have any issues. It was back there. I knew it was back there. It would have been great to have a little bit more horsepower displacement. A V8 always is a great option. I'm always that, what's that motto? You can't replace displacement or something like that. But anyways, I agree with that. So the 6-cylinder did struggle a bit once I hit the hills. Once I hit the mountains of Denver, I mean, it was pretty much game over. I was in the right lane, hazards on, and I was pretty much struggling going up serious inclines. Besides the inclines though, it towed fine. I did get to a point at the end of my trip where where I think the weight shifted on the trailer to the front, and when I started hitting bumpy roads, I could feel it flexing in the middle. I don't know, so my rig was going like this a bunch. It started really hopping, and you'll see that in my videos. And so that was extremely annoying, but I think that was just how I had the weight distributed in this, and I think it's just how it ended up shifting while I was driving. So, but other than that, It towed just fine. I was really nervous about it, but it ended up working out well. I just needed a little bit more horsepower, which is why I'm looking at these other rig options. But on the flip side, we do have the X5, which can tow as well. So do I want to just keep the FJ80 and use that as my off-road rig and use that? Guys, let me stop right there for a second too. I love the FJ80. I love the space of it. I love the feel of it. The driver position, my visibility all over is incredible. You can see out every single window. You can see over the hood. So all of that is great. But I would like something that could tow a little bit better in a pinch and just have, obviously, that a little bit more reliability as well. So I'm leaning towards the Gladiator for the solid front axle. The wheelbase and the overhang on the back does kind of bother me. Of course, Evo just did one with like a 6.5-inch lift in 40s. Obviously, financially, I mean, that's way down the line before I could even try and do something like that. So right off the bat, the Gladiator would have its limitations. Same with the Tacoma, although the Tacoma is a great platform, and I really like those as well. And they're really reliable, and they can tow as well. I kind of run into the same issues as the 4Runner though, where all the parts are extremely expensive. So I have that to weigh out. The newer FJ Cruiser is also an option. I just like the space inside of it. I did have an H3 a while back, and I really loved that rig. The thing I didn't like about it though was the engine, whereas Toyota has a better engine in their rig, so that would kind of make up for that issue. Other than that, I'm interested in what you guys think. If you got any questions on the FJ80 or what I've done to it, or the towing or anything like that, just let me know. I did put in a P3 Prodigy. I have the information in the link below if you want to look at what trailer brake I have on it. And then the trailer itself came with a 14,000 pound weight distribution hitch, so that helped a lot also. So between those two factors, the trailer brake and the weight distribution hitch, that's what really helped me out a lot. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for subscribing, anyone who's new. If you put a comment in the comment section, I reply to everybody. Instagram is a great way to talk to me as well. We are on Patreon. I don't advertise that very much, but we do have one patron, which is way more than I could have ever imagined. And thank you again for being a patron. You know exactly who I'm talking to. Thank you so much for that. All I can say is thank you. We're here. We're in Denver. I can't wait for Shay to get here and get my family back together. But until then, I'm just gonna keep making strides to proceed. And off-road videos coming soon. I'll film the best I can. Obviously, Moose isn't going to drive or be able to film, so he's not going to be very helpful. But I will film what I can for you guys. All right, thanks. I'll see you on the flip side.